Good morning. Today is Thursday, July 24th. This is Wake Up with KERA News, and I'm Andrew Garcia. There'll be a heat advisory in effect today as late as 9 this evening, as temperatures reach 101 degrees and will have a feels-like temperature as high as 107. We're definitely in the dog days of summer. Recent lab data indicates more Texans have brought in ticks for testing this season than in years past. We'll hear how to guard yourself against ticks and why you should. That's after the news. Less than 2 weeks after Hearst announced a deal to purchase the Dallas Morning News, a new bidder has entered the fray. Alden Global Capital's Media News Group is offering $16.50 per share for the 140-year-old newspaper. This is $2.50 more per share than the deal with Hearst. DallasNews Corporation is reviewing the offer, but says it still supports selling to Hearst. The Denton Arts and Jazz Festival has started a donation drive after funding troubles. The city of Denton is planning to cut funding for the event 4 months before it starts in the fall. Festival organizers hope to raise $75,000 before the festival begins on October 3rd. So far, they've raised $2,000 in about a day. Tick activity normally picks up in early spring through summer, but recent lab data indicate more people across Texas have brought in ticks for testing this season than in years past, meaning more possible exposure to tick-borne illness, such as Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever. The Tick-Borne Disease Research Lab at UNT's Health Science Center is offering free testing for those diseases. That lab is run by Dr. Michael Allen. He spoke with KERA's Sam Bekah about what's behind the increase in tick activity.
A mild winter, a relatively wet spring and summer, and not too oppressively hot can all lead to just increasing in the survival of ticks over the winter and into the summer. So it could just be local weather conditions that are leading to increase. They have a 2-year life cycle, so 2 years of relatively mild winters and wet and cooler summers can lead to a large increase in the numbers.
Is there one tick-borne disease that's trending higher than others?
Lyme disease is the biggest concern. We're approaching probably in the neighborhood of 500,000 cases a year in the United States. We don't have Lyme disease in Texas at any concerning levels, but people travel. And we had a tick submitted just last week that was positive for Borrelia burgdorferi, the causative agent of Lyme disease. And the submitter had traveled to an area which is endemic for Lyme and brought that tick back with him. So it's important when you talk to your physician or you're submitting a tick sample to our lab, please let us know where you were and where you possibly picked this up, because that can change the type of pathogens that it's carrying and may lead us to look for different things that we might not ordinarily look for.
Where are you likely to encounter a tick?
Most of the time it's in a rural setting. Or if you're in the city and you take your dog for a walk down by a water creek or something that has, typically those areas will have taller grass closer to the water. And it's that edge area where you can be exposed more to different kinds of ticks. So if you're staying on a trail, for example, with relatively low grass, you're at much less risk than you are if you get out into a field with tall grass or up under the edge of the canopy where the trees are. You'll be exposed to more in those kinds of areas.
What else do you do to prevent tick bites?
Well, prevention is really the key. Many of the things we can do for mosquitoes, such as spraying with DEET-type repellent, also works for ticks. You can also use clothes that have been treated with permethrin, which is an insect repellent. This works for ticks as well. And so prevention is really the most important aspect of all of this.
But should you get or come in contact with a tick, what should you do?
Well, if the tick is just crawling on you, it's not a problem. It really has to bite you and sometimes stay attached for a day or two before it can effectively transmit any of the pathogen that it might be carrying. Not every single tick is carrying a pathogen, so it may be that there's no issue at all. But for citizens in the state of Texas, we offer free service in which you can submit your tick to the Department of State Health Services in Austin. and they will forward it to us for testing. And we can look in that tick and determine if it's carrying any potential pathogens that should be of concern. You should also, if you find a tick on your person, you should remove it as close to the head as possible, preferably with something like tweezers. You don't want to mash it and inject more tick fluid into your body. So you want to cleanly pull the tick away and remove it, and monitor yourself for any signs of flu-like symptoms, a fever, or particularly any kind of rash for a few weeks following that. And if you show any of these symptoms, you can take the tick into the doctor or, take a picture of it and discuss with your physician that you were exposed to a tick and see if that aligns with any of your symptoms and with any tick-borne disease.
That was KERA's Sam Bekah speaking with Dr. Michael Allen from the University of North Texas. Major League Pickleball is hosting a showdown at Pickler Universe in Carrollton. Today through Sunday, some of the best teams in the league will face off, including the reigning champions, Dallas Flash, and the Carolina Hogs. Head to the Post in Fort Worth for a live acoustic concert featuring Jack Ingram. The show is 21 and up. For more information and some other fun things to do, visit our Go See DFW calendar at kera.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show is produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Please stay hydrated and make sure that others are too. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.